Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative. Today we're going to do one of the new molds that I got in my last Temu order. It is a flower vase and it's actually got some really pretty flowers on the mold, like the design on it. It's really cool. I thought we would do this. I know we're getting close to the end of summer. I just thought it would be fun to do this anyway. But before I do that, I wanted to show you, this is a piece we did quite a while ago. I have not finished decorating it. I did manage to sand it down, but it was the piece that I had done. I poured the ceramic resin and then I poured resin on top of it and we let it set up. One of my subscribers had mentioned they had tried that, but the piece hadn't stayed together. They also mentioned that they were using a different product from what I was doing, but this piece has managed to stay together. I haven't seen any type of split between the two products. I've been looking at what I could do with this piece. Originally, I thought I would just put a colored resin over top of it, a UV resin over top of it. And then I thought, ooh, I'd kind of like to put maybe something in the center of this. I just haven't gotten around to doing that. My main point for bringing this piece to the forefront of this video was just to let you know that it is still together. I believe it was either the middle to end of June or the beginning of July that we had done this piece. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, just so that you could see that yes, the piece was still together. All right, we're going to be doing this. What I want to do is I'm going to mix my ceramic resin up. I'm going to use the mix to mold pigments, the magenta and the blue. I thought these would make a nice combination. I'm not going to mix them both in to get a specific color. What I want to do is mix this up. I'm going to use this tool again in this mold, and we're going to drizzle these two colors in. I might mix them just a little bit to get the stirring of the colors into it. We'll see how that goes. I just thought it might be fun to have some color in it instead of it just being plain white. But I believe this would absolutely lend itself, if you had the patience and want to do it, to coloring all the blooms that are on this. So we'll have to see how that goes. Now, the other thing is I'm using the theory of whatever the water is, I am dividing that number by 0.65, as again one of my other subscribers has said, when they do it, they multiply it and they would do it by 1.65. So it just depends on how you want to do your math on this. I have another piece. I am not necessarily doing it for this video, however it might end up being for this video. We've done this piece. Oh, we haven't done, this is not the piece I was thinking of. Huh. So I am wondering, do I want to do this? Dun 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 dun. This is not the piece I was thinking it was. I do want to make it. So maybe we'll play. Okay. I'll show it to you because it was going to be in a different video. I was actually going to do this piece in resin. A long time ago, I had done I'll call it the sister to this piece. These are Let's Resin. These are the face molds that they had. And the last one I had done was a round version. I did the eyes in, and I haven't done this period. So I was going to keep this and do this as one of my projects in resin. But what I'm going to do is if I have any left over the ceramic resin, then I'm going to start filling this up. And I'm just going to keep going until I get it done. If I start pouring if there's some left over of this. So I'm going to have to be a little bit quick, but before I do that, I'm noticing a mark. Well, I say a mark, but I think it's just, is it coming off? I don't like scratching things. I find silicone, as we probably all know, is that it's easy to scratch. And I don't know, I hadn't noticed this mark in here before, so I don't know if it's something I did or it's on the underside of the mold. But let me see if I can get, it's not coming out from that perspective. No, it is on the inside. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but in the nose, right here, So I guess we're going to find out if that's going to impede me making this piece or not. And it does say that if we were doing resin, it would take 10.2 fluid ounces. However, we're not. Well, we may be doing it, but for right now, I kind of want to see how it would look in ceramic resin as well. And everything's getting caught to my tape now. Anywho, I have mixed up my pigment. And I just could get my, it's so funny. Just give me a sec. Just bear with me while I just even get rid of this piece of tape altogether. There we go. Done, done, and done. All right. Patience, Natalie. Patience. So we need to get that out of the way. Let's mix this up. Let's pour some colorant into it. Let's pour it and see where we end up. I've noticed I've been doing a lot more ceramic resin pieces than resin. And that's okay. Doesn't have to be one or other, right? It can be whatever floats my boat. And I noticed that some people are doing Christmas stuff already. Oh, I realize we are 5 months away from Christmas. No, it would be 4, wouldn't it? We're 4 months away from Christmas. And I can completely understand people starting to work on their Christmas, especially if they're going to be going out to events and showcasing their work and selling it. I can totally get that. I haven't even really considered Christmas. As I've said, I've got a lot going on these days. I'm actually going to be working with a speaker coach starting next week. I'm working on getting notes together for that, what I want to talk about. So that's been occupying my time. Oh, I've just got different things going on. My garden is going crazy. When I say my garden, I mean my vegetable garden. That's going nuts. So I've got a lot going on. Okay, let's get some of this in. Now, I'm going to recommend, and you don't have to, it depends, but sometimes we get the some little crusts around the side of these bottles. So I'm just going to recommend that you might want to think about wiping it off before you start putting your liquid dye into the mixed mold or whatever product you're using. Get that out of the way. I always feel like I don't have enough space. How crazy is that, eh? All right, let's see what happens here. Get rid of that air bubble. Go. All right. That's over here like this. I'm going to have to move this, but I want to keep it in camera for you. Of course, I get a dust piece on it. All right. I'm just going to bring it and swish it around a little bit. So I can get some of the color down into it instead of it all just sitting on top, which it seems to do unless you mix it right in. And I really should bang this around a little bit, so let's do that. Lift that up. Okay. It's a little close to that edge, and I don't want it tipping over either. So what are people doing? Are you doing anything? I know I asked about if people were going on vacation, or are you just staying put? So what are people up to these days? I have to mix this up because I'm getting some of my... I should have gone over this a little bit with this smaller one. Anybody doing anything totally interesting? Different, unique? I think this is going to be really pretty, people. Okay, I don't have a lot left. I have put the majority of my molds away, so having said that, I am going to let you go. I'm going to do something with the rest of this. I will work on doing this other mold too, and you'll just have to see how it shows up when we're done. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, we're ready to take the multiple things I've made out of the containers they are in. Should we'll leave this one to the end because this is the one that this video is really all about. We'll leave that. And there's nothing exciting to see here, so I'm not going to take those out and bore you with those. What I will do is the skull we've got here, this resin, Let's Resin piece, and then we'll do the other. I managed to have some of the leftover. I had calculated not properly. I did try and fill this up with water, but it didn't really go well because this is so much longer and or wider than what my scale is. So I couldn't get a proper measurement on it. What I did was I went and figured out what the 10.2 fluid ounces were in mils. I put that into a container and did it. I also then figured out a little extra, which was too much extra, and that's why we've got the skull. Granted, please understand that I had to add some to the skull. I only had about 50 mils left from this. So overall, this takes about 315 mil of ceramic resin. That was it? Oh, now let me think about that before I give you an incorrect number. Is my book still open over there? My book is not open over there. So I'm trying to think. I came up originally with 465. You know what? Let's just skip me trying to even think of what the numbers are. I will put it in the description below for you what that is. So let's start with the skull. I want to be very careful with that. I do not want to break it. And the skull I know is going to be pretty solid, so we can just, get it out. I tried to have a little bit of fun with this. And what I'm actually thinking I might end up doing with this one is spray painting it. Only because it's not really... I was hoping it might look a little more fierce as a skull, but it is kind of boring. So what I might do is when I say I have a lot of different spray paints. And one of the ceramic birds I had done, I actually took some spray paint to it and I did a pretty decent job at coloring it. I may just as do the same with this. We also have the gold graffiti paint and the silver graffiti paint that I got at Michael's. So we could always do that. Okay. It's not very eerie looking. The other thing I could potentially do with that is to take some paints to it and just see what kind of magic I can do with different acrylic paints once it's dry to try and make it more eerie. Anyway, if I figure that out brilliantly, I will be sure to share it on my Facebook page. And you may be wondering, why is she wearing gloves? I got some grease on my hand that is not coming off, and I seriously do not want to get it on any of the pieces. That's why I'm doing the black gloves for these pieces. I'm hoping this came out pretty decently. I'm definitely going to have to sand the back of this. And it isn't very thick. That's part of the reason why I gave this, overall, everything was extra time because of this piece. So we want to be really careful taking this out. would hate to see it break. Then the other thing is I've got a cut on this hand in a spot that when I start doing stuff like this, I'm actually rubbing against it, which isn't a heck of a lot of fun. All right. So that's definitely going to have to be washed out. Okay, what I might do with this, because it's looking very pastel-y right now, is show it to you in the next video once this has had the opportunity to dry out. All right, so the back looks pretty awesome and colorful. Hopefully we will get some of that coming through on the front. I probably will decorate this some more too. Make the eyes more noticeable. The nose I'd probably leave alone. Anyways, we'll see what this comes out, like what this does from a dry out perspective. But it's kind of a cool piece. And I will be doing it at some point in resin. Now, let's get this. The real reason we're here. And I have to admit, I'm really looking for, I did a really spectacular job gluing my, do not break that, Natalie. Put that over there. Gluing my fake nails on, that I am looking forward to when I can finally get them off. The novelty has worn off, and that always happens with me. I get to the point where, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Now can we get them off? They're on there pretty good. We're going to have to leave them for a little bit. I usually start to try peeling them off, and that can cause, you know, extra damage to my actual nails, which isn't a big deal because I know they heal. It's just kind of funny that, ugh. Okay. Let's just roll this down. There we go. Row, row, row your boat. This is looking cool. All right, another one that's going to have to be washed out properly. All right. So here's what our pot looks like. And obviously these pink and blues and the purple that came because of the coloring will brighten up. I know that. So I think what I might do is, I was thinking of ending the video, but I think because we've got some pieces here that we know will brighten up as they dry out, we will just wait. Now, can you see the inside of that? How we've got the lines because of the unit we used on it, because of this piece, which is kind of cool. It looks kind of cool in there. So I'll just tilt it that way so you can see it. That might be better for you. Hard to say, right? I can never figure out if I've got it in the right direction for you guys. Anyway, you know what? I was going to finish this video up and be done with it. Now this has got a bit of a bounce to it. So we're definitely not level. I'll have to work on getting this level without going too crazy on that. But you know what? I am going to let these sit overnight. I will show you what they look like in the morning once they've had 12 hours or so to dry out. And we'll see how they've brightened up. But I love the idea, if you have the patience, of actually being able to do some coloring on this, which I think is really cool. So yeah, I think it's going to look neat once it's dried out. We will come back so you can actually see these pieces dried out. I'll see you then. All right, we are back to look at these pieces. You're probably wondering what the hands are doing here, but I do have a bit of a show and tell for you on that. I'll just put these off to the side and then we'll get back to them. We wanted to see how much these pieces changed color from when we first took them out of the mold till now. It hasn't been quite 24 hours. It's been about 22 hours. give or take. All right. So you'll be able to rewind this and go back and see. I don't think the red may have come out a little bit brighter on this, but the other colors haven't really done much of anything on this. Now this is a solid piece, so it's probably going to take a little bit longer for it to dry out and the colors maybe to become more vibrant, but that's where we're standing with the skull right now. Okay, I think I got a little bit more color on this with the drying out because this is a lot lighter than it was. Again, I think this is going to be a really cool piece if you've got the patience to do coloring of all the flowers. And if not, I do like how we managed to get some coloration in this. I would have liked more at the bottom. However, that's something I'm going to have to practice to get it better. But overall, I think this is really cool. And what you could do if you had a piece where it was darker here is to bring in softer colors for the bottom just to try and blend it down a little bit with painting on it and whatnot. Again, you'll have to play, you'll have to experiment to see what you come up with for that. But I think it came out really pretty. It just needs a little bit more of something. Now we have this guy over here. I propped him up on some popsicle sticks. This one didn't change a lot either, I don't think. Yes, the colors may be coming through a little bit more, but nothing really that would pop. So let's flip it over because I haven't looked at the back since we turned it over. So the back is still looking the same color, maybe a little more vibrant than it did before, but that's where we are with this guy. So I'm going to definitely be sanding down the back of it. And I want to see how well I've got it in view because, so my idea is to do the eyes and color them in somehow, some way with whatever. I do want to put something in here. I haven't figured out what, but I'd like to do a bit of a decoupage of something in here and then seal it up just to give it a little bit more of something. And also because I'm not fussy of this in here. It's a little scattered for me. I don't mind the top of the face. I think it looks pretty cool. And around the edges, I don't mind it. I'm not fussy in here. So I'll have to figure something out with that. Now, the hands, you're probably wondering, what are you thinking with that? For some of you who have been watching my Facebook posts, I had shown you the piece I'd done for my nephew and his wife for their wedding. All I'm doing this is for the visual, not a great one, but a visual nonetheless. For those of you who have people who are Halloween fanatics, and I know they exist out there in the world because I've come in contact with some of them, and I think it's brilliant when you love something that much. You really get to bring your creative side out when it comes to something like that. My thought had been to make a set of hands and a skull to go into the hands. Now, I had just off of the one time I had some leftover of the resin creep, but I didn't get the full face. I got it maybe down to the bottom of the cheekbones or maybe just the top of the teeth here. I didn't get the whole thing. And I just happened to go like this and place it inside the hands. And I thought, oh, how cool is that? You do the hands in whatever sort of creepy colors you can for Halloween, or that whole gothic look. You do them black, you do them a gray, and then you somehow decorate them up. Having said that, you could do them out of resin as well. I was thinking ceramic resin and then painting it or putting some decoupage on it, doing something really fun with it, and then placing the skull in the hands. Now, you'd have to be careful, and I'm thinking, see, it was sitting fine, wasn't it? Natalie, you messed with it. Don't do that. All right, hands off. I won't touch it anymore. You would want to support that skull somehow, whether you wanted to sit it up more, or I like it this way because it's almost like the hands are truly cradling that skull. I thought that would be kind of neat. Now, the other thing you could do, if you did them out of resin, and you were going to do them clear, putting lights in so that you had lights that would shine as such on the skull. Again, I would want to support that skull a little bit with the bird. What I did was I put some moss in the bottom. I set the bird on it, and then the wings that we're pointing out here, I sealed them on. I didn't seal them on too. I used, did I use a bonding? What did I use on those guys? I think I UV resined it on, actually, just to hold them in place. And then I had a couple of other birds. I think I had one here and one sitting in at the back here at the hands. But I like the idea of doing something like this for someone who is into skulls, into Halloween, because I think it would be a really cool piece. I wanted to share that with you just in case there are any of you out there who have people who are into the Gothic, the Halloween, the skulls. I think that's a really cool idea, and I want to make one of these, so I'm going to, in my spare time, get working on that. But I wanted to share that with you in case that was of interest to any of you. Anyway, that is my video. I don't want to put that over there. So let me know in the comments below what you think. It sort of took off this video and doing a lot more than what I intended to do it, but hey, what the heck? Got to have fun once in a while. I hope you've enjoyed it. I look forward to doing my next video. Again, any comments you have, thank you for showing up, and we will see you in the next video. Be creative. Take care. Bye for now.